People who have been catfished. How did you catch on that you were being lied to? In my sophomore year of college, my friend Carrie, male, 19, met a girl named Kelly in a chat room. They talked a lot and got close. One day, Kelly revealed that her boyfriend beat her up and broke her jaw. Carrie drove to a city a few hours away to rescue her and learned that Kelly was really Kenny. Kenny tortured Carrie into giving up all his passwords and then murdered him and left his corpse in a field. Then Kenny impersonated Carrie online for several days in an attempt to cover his tracks. He did a bad job and got caught and killed himself in jail before trial. I realize how this sounds with all the names being KY, but it's a true story. You can Google it. It really messed me up for a while. My ex-girlfriend tried catfishing me to test me. It took me about 30 seconds of looking through the profile before I realized that the name was her name backwards. The craziest thing is that she really thought it would work. That girl was bonkers. Edit. Ela, I realized that the name was her name backwards. Master criminal. I believe you. A friend had a similar experience but only lost his marbles for a while, not his life. It went down like this. Girl impersonated a guy online. My friend fell in love with this guy. Guy states an injury hurt his vocal cords, not a low voice, to maintain his identity as a male. Girl somehow befriends my friend as a girl and friend of guy. Guy dies. My friend mourns the fuck out of guy's death. It was tragic. Girl mourns over guy. Invites herself to friend city to mourn together. My friend becomes roommates with girl because they've developed a friendship mourning over this guy. My friend was a gay male, if that makes any difference to the story. Guilt overwhelms girl and she admits she made up guy the whole time. My friend discovers he's living with a batshit insane woman and manages to kick her out a month or so later. It was a very tense time. My friend has moved on from the incident and speaks of it no more. I met the woman once, and there was definitely something off about her, but hindsight is 20/20 in this case. My ex tried doing the same thing. She tried adding me on FB with a picture of a girl she knew I'd find attractive. I looked at the profile and noticed the associated email was a Hotmail address. My GF was the only person I knew for the past several years to currently own a Hotmail address. I immediately called her out on it. LMAO. About 6 years ago I found out my brother was a catfish. He had been catfishing this young man in the UK whilst being in America. He had fake pictures, a fake name but his real phone number. The guy being catfished, we'll call him Lenny, would repeatedly call my brother and leave messages on our house phone. My brother and Lenny often sent each other packages of sweets. Lenny made the decision to come to America to visit, since he's never been. My brother agreed. On the day Lenny arrived in Texas, my brother told him the truth, but never actually met up with Lenny. Lenny tried all week trying to convince my brother to meet him, telling him he just wanted to know who he really was. My brother never showed. Lenny called religiously every day for about a month trying to get my brother back. I think he really loved him. After that I never heard from him again. So when I was a freshman in high school, I was big into Neopets and had a clique I ran with on the boards, and we chatted off-site as well. Two of those people were Shelby and Adam. Same age as myself more or less, and dating. Adam had a sister, Kelsey I think, who was also in the clique. Well, it came to pass, as internet relationships do, that Shelby and Adam broke up, and Adam and I started talking dating. Shelby gave us a blessing. We shared pics. He was typical emo looking kid which 14-year-old me loved. We talked on the phone only once or twice. I was very shy about it, so didn't mind the lack of voice communication. At one point he sent me a YouTube video of him and his friends. There wasn't much talking and it was all pretty muffled, and it sounded like they were all speaking German. Adam and I broke up, and it was after that the big reveal came. There was no Adam. Kelsey had made him up and been posing as him all along. I asked Shelby about it, and apparently she had found out when they had broken up too, but Kelsey had made her promise not to tell. Gee, thanks TL. DR Neopets is for good clean fun, not dating. I was talking to a girl I met on Tinder, and while I have on my profile that I'm not interested in being anyone's third, she kept talking about the guy she was currently seeing and how hot he was, and didn't I want him with her? I eventually found her Facebook, and his was a real Facebook while hers consisted of two really fake looking photos and no actual information. So it became apparent at that point it was the guy just trying to get B girls to sext with him. That's actually really clever. Oh boy, this is gonna be a fun story. I used to be on Omegle, a chat site, a few times when I was 17 or so. Everyone asked age and sex, male female, and most of them would disconnect when you said you were a male. So at one moment I told people I was female just to be able to talk to people. Anyway, I connected to a girl and we had a great time together. We chatted for 2 hours or so I believe before we gave each other our Skype address. I had to create mine in a quick hurry because I didn't have a fake girly Skype address that matched my fake name. We went on to chat almost every day just for fun, and even though I knew I was lying to her by being a girl, I still had some fun, but I really felt guilty for lying to her. And I knew we couldn't meet in real life, even though we lived close to each other. One day, she confessed that she was lying to me about something. That thing turned out to be that she was a guy as well. We kept contact and we had a great time together still, and we actually met each other once. He died 2 years later though, but still, good times. Edit. Typo. About 10 years ago I started chatting with a guy in one of the Yahoo chat rooms. We had only been chatting for a few weeks when suddenly he disappeared offline for about 2 weeks. I was so worried, but then his sister contacted me and told me he'd been in a terrible motorcycle accident. He was an IQ, but she kept in touch with me to let me know how he was. After about a month, he got back online and we talked every day. We traded pics and eventually I got on webcam to say hi. He couldn't do the same because of some issues with his computer. We talked like this for nearly 3 years. It was around this time that I realized his sister was actually him. It didn't matter though. I was besotted with him, and I mean totally head over heels. Then one day he just disappeared. His profile was deleted, all his accounts were gone, and I have not heard a single word from him since. I still have absolutely no idea who she really was, and it messed up for a long time. I still think about it times. I would do anything to know the truth. His wife found out. It was when I was a teenager, not too long after the birth of ICQ. I had met this one person in a chat room, and things started to get more and more personal. Not too long later, they eventually broke down and admitted that they had been lying, and that they weren't a young hot girl but instead a man. The guy seemed really remorseful, and I couldn't bring myself to tell him that I actually wasn't a young hot lesbian either. I don't think anybody was ever what they said they were in those old school chat rooms. He claimed to be a US Marine, yet had an extravagant amount of free time to play MMORPGs. Someone here on Reddit offered to run his name through the USMC database, and he didn't exist. Well, someone by his name did, but they had been discharged in 1958 or something, whereas this guy claimed to be 21. Good old stolen valor. Met someone on OkCupid. He was moving from NYC to my city, said he was a surgeon. That was my first red flag. I wondered why a successful surgeon was on a free dating site. We chatted for 2 weeks, but he didn't want to talk on the phone. Red flag number 2. At this point I assume he's a fake. He deleted his profile, saying he couldn't wait to meet me in 3 weeks when he was scheduled to fly in for a weekend to find a condo. I reverse searched his picture and found another profile. Same story, but it said he was moving to Phoenix. Red flag number 3. At this point, I know he's fake, but now I'm having fun making him think I'm totally hooked. He gave me bad med advice when I sprained my ankle, then told me he had a foot fetish and he would be making sure I would get daily pedicures when I quit my job and move in with him. The weekend he was supposed to fly in, his current almost former boss died and he couldn't make it. I sent him screenshots of his other profile and told him I knew all along and had just been with him. Good times. I dated a doctor I met on OKC. Even saw him in my hospital one day, so I verified it. Started talking to a girl from Reddit. Great sob story about parents abusing her as a child. About how her dad is still living with her despite court cases. If only she had something to take her mind off of it. She starts sexting. Some red flags. But people on the internet are fucking weird at the best of times, so I'm down with that. Given she's 19. Or says she is. But hey, I'm paranoid and check that these people are who and what they say they are as far as possible. Ask for a verification picture. Person disappears. person starts posting on a new account on Reddit. I notice and pull a suspicious face. Similar looking photos. Similar usernames for chat programs. Decide that I'd best verify manually by digging around. Google tells me that the girl exists. Google also tells me girl lives with her grandparents, 300 miles from where she said she did. A few databases of pedis and lawsuits eventually turns up her dad, who is registered as a sex offender where the girl said she was living. He got out of jail 6 months ago. Every social media account the girl has was created 6 months ago. All of them use the same set of photos that I eventually find EXIF data for saying they're from a few years ago. And more amusingly yet, the social media account is sock puppeting on a few websites. Google gives me email address of local police station.